So what are the types of pen tests out there? Well, that really is going to depend on your approach. And what I mean by that is it depends on how much information you have or is given by the organization before the test starts. Also, whether it's internal or external. But we typically sum these up with, first of all, a white box. A white box pen test means that we have complete knowledge of the infrastructure. And when I say complete knowledge, typically the customer or the company will provide a network topology, asset inventories, and software inventories. Typically, a company will do this type of test when it wants a complete audit of its security. Now, you should note that despite all of this, information security is an ongoing process, and pen testing simply gives us a snapshot of the security posture for that company at that given point. Another type of test is a black box test. This is actually broken down into two types of tests. One is referred to as a blind test. A blind test, the pen tester knows nothing about the company or the target, but the target is informed of the audit scope, meaning the what, the how, and when the tester will be testing. In a blind test, the attacker will actually simulate the actions and processes and procedures that a real attacker would take. So we're going to do some reconnaissance, some footprinting, some scanning. We'll look at some public available information. Typically, blind tests are more time-consuming and more expensive because of the time. The other type of black box test is what we refer to as a double blind. This is also known as a zero knowledge testing. So neither the pen tester knows about the target nor the target is informed of the scope of the audit, meaning they don't know the what, the how. This is one of the more popular assessments that are used today just because of the aspect that it really does test everybody's knowledge. We also have something called a gray box. This is kind of a combination of both black box and white box testing. What we mean by this type of test is that the attacker has a partial knowledge, such as a domain name server. This actually helps save some time versus the black box. This is typically just a time saver for us because in a black box, it's just a matter of time before I properly recon you and get to that gray area, kind of the assumption that you're going to get that work done. It also can provide what we refer to as a dual perspective, which means it provides a full system inspection from both the developer's perspective and the attacker's perspective, meaning that we might attack from the outside as well as simulate an inside attack by a disgruntled employee. Now, there's also a couple of different approaches that you can take. We can either implement an announced approach. In this approach, the pen tester should be able to acquire a complete overview of the infrastructure of the organization and then also be given physical access. The other issue here is that it has less of an impact on the network because, again, you know that they're coming. When it comes to an unannounced approach, this is an extremely effective type of approach when it comes to testing the knowledge of the security personnel, as well as testing the organization against social engineering attacks. In an unannounced approach, only top management is aware these tests are going to be taking place. The standard IT guys or day-to-day IT guys have no idea when it's coming. Now, this has a tendency of having a larger impact. And it also requires a strict process of what's going to be done. The true goal of an unannounced approach is to kind of test the agility of the infrastructure and how responsive your IT staff is. This is like either RSVPing that you're coming to the wedding or just simply crashing it.